Doing guys, gals and non-binary pals, Info here with another memes build video. Now this druid nearly didn't make it in. He had a tragic accident in public maps where I was not paying attention, talking to my wife, and I ran into a boss pack. He got slapped down. I was just trying to get him leveled up as much as possible to show the potential. But that's okay, because I've been rebuilding him piece by piece. I got loot, by the way, in that public map, so that was good, and it gave me a chance to look at the gear and tweak it a little bit, and obviously I found some more things along the way with other characters before I remade this one, so he's come back bigger, better and stronger, to be honest, so really happy about that. And the reason I built this druid was from watching another streamer, DVG. I raided him and he said, "So Dean, you like making characters that use bows, you know, that aren't Amazons traditionally. Have you ever done a druid?" And I said, "Yeah, but I was in wolf form with Eaglehorn, procking ravens, and I synergized the ravens, and it was a great build." But he said, "Yeah, but you ever just used a bow with the druid?" I said, "You know what, that's a good point. I've never actually used a bow." So I thought, right, well, how do we do this? And here we go, I'm going to show you. So, skills for this character. We have absolutely nothing in the shapeshifting tree. And in the summoning tree, we have our safety and our buffing. So safety, we have maxed Summon Spirit Wolf, and gear wise it will make sense, but you have a bunch of neat little tanks surrounding you. They don't do a lot of damage, as you can see, practically none, but they have a decent life pool and there's a lot of them. They don't go down easy, and when you teleport they're all around you, so yeah, good defense properties there. And then for buffing, we have the usual, well, Poison Creeper, I still have it summoned because it's kind of useful. When everything's got that poison over its head, it sort of acts like a lighting up effect, and you can see all the enemies out of your light radius off screen, just to see how dangerous it's going to get if you can't actually see them. So yeah, I like that. It's useful in that respect. Carrion Vine and Solar Creeper to give you your life and mana back, which is very useful in this build because you're not very strong, quite squishy. Leech and things is a bit of a problem. So these two take care of that for you very, very well. I think they're highly underrated, even with 1-point wonders. Again, I would love to put more points in, but as usual, points are tight. It is what it is. And for this reason, we have to max Heart of Wolverine because we need to hit. Using O skills, as you can see down here with Strafe, which don't get many plus to all skills to them to make them better, we have to supplement, you know, other ways. So Heart of Wolverine's fantastic. You get more damage and more attack rating, which means that you actually hit the enemies to get procs. Speaking of procs, so in the elemental tree, we are procking Twister through our gear. So Twister receives bonuses from Hurricane, Tornado, and Arctic Blast. So as I was leveling, I had sort of put as many points into Arctic Blast as I could until I got down to the Wolves, and then started pumping the Wolves and Heart of Wolverine. So I was sort of a foe summoner helping out from behind the wolf bodies with Arctic Blast, until I was able to put on my weapons and actually start being useful. So then we ended up at level 30, taking a break from maxing these two and maxing Hurricane, because it may only have a 6-yard radius, but it means anything that comes too close to you, if the wolves aren't around you, because sometimes they can be a little derpy, you have a nice damage dealer passively. There's an early warning system when things get too close. The good thing about this build is it goes from strength to strength. I mean, like I said, maxed the buffing and the, you know, tanking first, and then finished off, I said, Hurricane was maxed early on, but then I maxed Arctic Blast, which is your secondary skill. You do run into certain physical immunes you can't break, so Arctic Blast helps. And then when you run into the immune to physical, immune to cold, it does suck. What can I say? I do sit and make a point of whittling them down by just shooting them repeatedly with the minor amount of stuff I have on my gear. I'm like, you're not going to beat me. But anyway, I digress. So the last thing we're maxing is Tornado, which is from now until you know, the next 11 levels if I felt like it. I'm only 88, but as I said, it goes from strength to strength. You got everything, as I said, safe first. Damage and onwards. And yes, because we're not in wolf form, even though we're attacking, we do get to use Gust. So there are a few hard points in Gust there. I believe it's 4, something like that, yeah. Just to get the cooldown that little bit more. I tend to find once you've teleported in and start spraying, you know, that cooldown of 3.7 seconds is quite high, granted. But it does come back into play when you need to be fairly tactical with teleporting. We'll go over that in gameplay. So yeah, that's the skills. And let's see how we're proccing Twister. So on to gear. So, we have Endless Hail or Widowmaker. Now, a lot of my builds using a bow use Widowmaker because it's just so damn good. However, I really wanted to make a go of Endless Hail, and especially for the reason that if you have an Endless Hail that's still a double bow, as you can see, that's what I used as soon as I hit level 36, and I used that all the way until I hit 51 and had the stats, because to go from 58 strength, 73 dex from level 36 is fairly reasonable, but then to go 121 strength, 107 dex at 51 is fairly tough. But I also leveled in a full Aratha's set for resistances, and you know, you get bonuses, strength and dex and things there. So you know, it does help to get that sort of thing on. Yeah, so we are using O skills that belong to the Amazon to get off as many hits as we can in quick succession to proc the Twisters. So I like Endless Hail with the Strafe because that Blizzard on striking, if you stack it, if you're lucky with the procs, and you know it's only 6%, but if it rolls in on those magical times where the screen is just thick with blizzards, it only does like 268 top end damage on a shard. But if you stack that with every hit on a strafe, you know, that's 1,000 free damage there. And you're not really even intending to use it. It's great. I mean, as I said, your cold skill there is on switch. If I'm shooting and something's physical immune that my Mercenary hasn't dealt with, I'll switch to Arctic Blast and shoot over the wolves. But yeah, having a bit of free cold damage is a good thing. Right, so onto the helmet. The other reason I wanted to build something like this was to test the new helmet, because it does speak for itself when it comes to a build like this. It's very good because you get the minus enemy physical resistance, which ups your very meager physical damage, which is lovely. You get minus 25 target defense, which usually doesn't feature on a helmet, so I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then you get plus just a Heart of Wolverine and Summon Spirit Wolf, which are integral to this build. And not only that, but you get to summon 2 additional Spirit Wolves. So instead of 6, you get 8 tanks, which is just fantastic. And then you get some massive dex bonus, which is very useful to get some extra damage and attack rating, so you get the hits to proc the Twisters. And I rolled 3 sockets, which was lucky. It's only a +1, sadly. If you got +2 to Druid skills, it would be a huge leap there to get more Heart of Wolverine and Wolves and Vines and etc. I couldn't find a 3-socket one on the market with +2 skills, so I just went with the one that I found and slammed. Still good stuff. Right. So, my amulet choice can be pretty much anything. I mean, you could have a Mercenary that doesn't rely on amp damage and have an Atmas here, or anything you like really. But I crafted this, and for me it just ticks all the boxes. I get some faster hit recovery. I get Druid skills to help me, again, Vines, Spirits, Wolves, etc. Massive attack rating. It could have been bigger, but it was like, yep, good. I was hoping the slam for all resistances, but I got stats, which is still incredibly useful for, again, putting your gear on, getting more dex for damage, etc. So, lovely little amulet, especially when you make it yourself. So, arrows. I did have some other arrows that had more enhanced damage on there, but with these ones are actually better for this build, because strength to put your gear on means more points of vitality, or dex in my case. So I've gone pretty glass cannon-y. You can see from my very meager life pool. But yes, resistances. The poison length reduced by 75 was actually quite nice. I didn't sort of really care too much about it before, because I'm a backline character, but it's useful. You do get poisoned in maps and things, so okay, cool. But yeah, most importantly, I said the resistances and the attack rating. Again, I wish it was a little higher. But it's great. It's very defensive, faster hit recovery, attack rating, all this good stuff. So, yeah. Could get better. So the boots and the belt in this build, I switched around. Because I had a really nice attack rating belt with resistances and some physical damage reduction. But once I had to switch out because I realised the error of my ways trying to proc Twister, you know, you need as many as possible. Chances, that is. So instead of having a Ravenfrost, I needed Cannot Be Frozen, so I crafted this belt, which turned out great. Half freeze duration, resistances, which you sorely need, a bit of life, and that 5 increased attack speed actually takes me to the breakpoint, which is hilarious. Wasn't planned, but I then planned around it. And then the boots, same thing. You can't quite see them. But yeah, so half freeze duration, resistances. You don't really need the faster run walk, so I'll show you in a minute why. But yeah, I wish the dex was higher because that would have been more damage. But they're still decent enough boots. And like I said, I don't mind. It's 10% faster hit run walk for this reason. So I'm wearing 2 carrying winds instead of 1 and a Ravenfrost. So we have 40% faster run walk from these. I do actually have one slam for an extra 10, but I wanted the Mana Leech, which can actually be useful to a small degree. It's better to have a little bit than none. And the Cold Resist, again, needed resistances. So I picked those ones instead of more faster run walk. But that is 2 times chances to cast a level 30 Twister. So 2 rolls of 8%. They don't stack, it's just it tries lots of times. And then if you add that to the armor, Rain, which is another 8% chance, sadly. They're all a bit low. But it's, sorry, 20%. Not the Cyclone armor is useful, of course, as well. We do use Cyclone armor, but having that extra bigger bonus if you get hit, great. But yeah, 20% chance to cast a level 25 Twister on striking. So these are my 3 chances. And I find that they're enough. Because before, with this build, I was using Wind Force, which is, I think it's a 12% chance, or 16, so quite high, and it's a level 40 Twister. Now, when it did proc, it hit like a truck. It's fantastic. The only problem is, it just wasn't proccing fast enough for my liking, because you're using normal attack. So you're bound by how slow the weapon is. In my case, it was a 4-socket Wind Force, so I did have a reasonable speed breakpoint. But again, I'm still using a normal attack. So, relying on AR to hit, not relying on any mechanics like Strafe, or in this case with Widowmaker, multiple shot. So, yeah, I had to ditch the Wind Force in the end. I loved the damage, but it was better to go with Rain and 2 carrying winds. And then Blood Fist, lastly, just because they have attack rating on them. I did slam some 20% increased attack speed Blood Fists, which my Mercenary was wearing, but I took them off him for Soul Drainers. We'll get to that. So yeah, these are great defensively because they have the faster hit recovery. You're a very squishy boy, so you want to recover quick. 40 to life is always nice. And as I said, I'm using them for the AR bonus. We have a lot of AR. So yeah, that's the gear. So let's move on to charms. Now my charms were a little janky, but there wasn't really much I could do because the previous druid had the good charms, and like I said, he died. You don't get them back, people, as you know. So I have only 1 summoning skiller this time. With 5 to life, that's nice, but I've only managed to find 1. You want as many of these as possible so that you get as much Heart of Wolverine and the wolves doing damage and having more life. But it's also good to have some elemental skillers. Got a couple of these, again, not special, but also useful because they bring down your gust cooldown, and also because you're actually actively using Hurricane, it boosts your Hurricane damage. So you actually, you know, it makes it worth it. Hurricane damage isn't very high, but it's good, it's passive, and if you stand close to, you know, an enemy, it just ticks away, and it's useful. So yeah, more of those, a couple of those. We have some resistance charms with life. Oh, I replaced them actually, sorry, because I got the Torch and Annie. But yeah, so we got some resistance and life because we just need life and need resistances. We're very squishy, people. Down here we got some Maxi Boys, because get the damage and AR up. Again, they're not brilliant. Same with these. They're not bad, these ones. Strength helps, again, to put gear on. They're both 6 max, which is good. You know, as best as AR as they can be. I don't think I actually need the hit recovery with this. No, I don't. So I could replace that with another AR, large charm, maxi. We'll see. So yeah, Torch, predominantly resistance focused, because again, we need resistances or we'll get burnt. We've got a couple of lifers just to fill the gaps. This faster run walk charm is to bring up the threshold. So it brings it up to 100 effective velocity / faster run walk with the amount I have. Yeah, so some AR and life there. This one I got fairly recently, just not a couple of runs ago. So big max damage, happy days. And that's what helped. So 7 faster run walk plus the 3, plus the 20, 20, and 10. Good stuff. And then an Annie, which was dirt cheap. I paid nothing for that. Peanuts. But again, just to get a little bit more vitality and or resistance, of course. Right, so we'll touch back on breakpoints and stuff in a minute, but we'll head over to the Mercenary. The old Mercenary was actually a bow mercenary. She slow movement and things like that, and I think she had a Witchwild string to proc amp very fast. She had the highest speed breakpoint. It was all very good. But I realised that if I want to just constantly proc from these, I just need to hit. So I went with an Act 2 Blessed Aim Mercenary to give me huge AR boost. Like, huge. We'll go over that in a sec. He's got Reaper's Toll to get the amp damage onto enemies so that when the twisters come out, it does some serious damage. I have this Crown of Ages, which gives him some increased attack speed and minimum damage there on the duel, and some faster hit recovery. He's at a very decent breakpoint. I'll show you in a minute. Soul Drainers, so that he can leech, get enemies' defenses down and things, very useful. The belt is literally just for the 28 to strength to put on Templars, so that he has a might aura, so my wolves do more damage, he does more damage, and my paltry damage is upped ever so slightly. But yeah, it's been rotting in my stash. I found it and slammed it for max poison, and it doesn't really sell for anything. Plus the roll isn't very good, so I just slapped a socket in it, and I put an enhanced damage duel in with minimum damage and minus requirements. Yeah, that's why I put it in there. It's ED, minus requirements, some other stuff. So he could put it on easier. So I could take this belt off. So I'm using it for the 28 to strength, so he could put this on. Yeah, he doesn't need it anymore. He really doesn't. But I just kept it on there because it's physical damage taken reduced by 8%. I don't think he needs the speed breakpoint. Oh, actually he does. Tell a lie. There you go. Professional video maker here. That's why it's still on. The 8% increased attack speed takes him to 9 frames, which is more than enough to proc. And then lastly, a Marrow Walk for the Canopy Frozen. Really. It's got, and obviously the strength to put that on too. It's where we went from there. So he's a very solid mercenary. He doesn't get too hurt because he's surrounded by a bunch of wolves as well. Sometimes he doesn't get to proc the amp even because he just can't get in through the pack. But when he does get in there, he does a very good job. So breakpoints for the mercenary, and then we'll do mine. So he has 21% physical damage reduction. So Crown of Ages and the belt. Again, he could be better, but it does the job. He's got reasonable resistances. Again, when he gets higher level, they'll get better. He has an 86% faster hit recovery breakpoint, which means if he does get caught with his pants down, he can recover well and slash back with his very fast slashing attack. He has 13% life leech, which is juicy. Some decent-ish deadly strike. And yeah, he does a great job. So then onto my breakpoints. So I'm a squishy boy, as I said. I have 7 MDR flat and no physical damage whatsoever reduced. You do get slapped around occasionally, but the vines will help you. They'll suck up those corpses. If not, teleport away. What are you doing that close, guys? Come on. Anyway, so we have fat resistances now, thanks to the torch and the Annie that I've grafted for. We have a 63 fast hit recovery breakpoint, which is pretty decent. It's not bad. I mean, I could get it higher, but it's just a lot of effort I don't need. I have 95 increased attack speed, which puts me at a 9 frame strafe or a 10 frame multi-shot. So it depends on just how you want to play it, really. We'll go over tactics in a sec. So I have 16% life leech, 3% mana leech. The life leech is high, but my physical damage is not. So I don't rely on that too much. It's mostly, again, full juves will save your life. But again, I have, pretty reasonable stats there and breakpoints and things. Again, the usual stuff. got vitality up to the point where I've got over 1,000, so I can take a reasonable hit and back off. The rest of it I'm putting into Dex for that extra damage and AR, even though it's pitiful, as you can see, but that will get buffed as soon as we step out of town and get subjected to Heart of Wolverine and Might. As you can see, again, the AR is pitiful. You know, not even 4K. It's like, oh my god, what is that? Again, as soon as we step outside, that shoots through the roof. So, before we step outside, and I'll show you just how it comes to light, map choices, just grab my little list. So, Tier 1s, Sewers, Harriet Battlefield, and Torridge Jungle, because they have very low physical and cold resistances. Tier 2 is Ruins of Viz-Jun and Ancestral Trial. You can do other Tier 2s and Tier 3s that have higher physical damage resistances, because he will break a lot of stuff, but I don't like to put myself in those situations, as you know. I like to make it easy for myself, and having a couple of map choices per tier is perfectly fine. And Tier 3, it's kind of good for public builds, because you can use Phlegathon, Pandemonium Citadel, when the Mercenary, as I said, breaks the physical, because those succubi are annoying. And Sanatorium, which not a lot of people like because of the souls. I actually lost the Thorns Charger Paladin from the last video I made. I lost him this morning doing some maps. We walked into a room in a public map and had souls that had concentration, aura, fanaticism, extra strong, etc. And they just torrent shot a lightning bolt, and that was it. Just all of them, you know, I'd melted basically. There was a Druid, a Necromancer in the game who was level 98 or something, going for 99, and he nearly died as well. So, but they looted me. You know, rest in peace, Paladin. I probably won't remake him, but again, I digress. Let's get on with gameplay. Let's get on with the fun part. We'll do Sanatorium. Just open up briefly because I've got a random blue one there. Let's do that. So gameplay-wise, oh sorry, as usual, I always forget this. On Switch, I have an Athena's Wrath. With enemy cold resistance just for the memes, but I don't use it to use Arctic Blast. I use it for summoning. It's 3 to summoning skills and 3 to druid skills, so we get some fat bonuses here. So I'll start off by Hurricane, Cyclone Armor, summon 1 Raven. I call him a pigeon, called Trevor. There we go, don't ask why. Then we resummon all the wolves because I always forget to leave the game with the stick active, so they're higher level. So we just rehire all the wolves, summon. We go, Heart Wolverine, that adds an extra 1,000 AR, because if I didn't have it with my original Switch. And then we summon all the vines for the memes. There we go. And then we switch back. We'll have a look. Now, as you can see, still a pitiful amount of physical damage. Oh dear. But we have 16k AR. It's nuts. 100% chance to hit, which means 100% chance to proc. Not really. So, yeah. Trying to get as many of these out as possible. So I'll show you Strafe first, and then I'll show you Widowmaker, and you can make your own decisions. They have their pros and cons. Like, as I said, Strafe gives you, is faster in this situation with me. It gives you the chance to stack the blizzards, which, you know, once they get up to, you know, sort of 4 or 5 stacks of blizzards on an enemy, that's a couple of 1,000 damage, coupled with my thousands of damage from this. It's good. So yeah, we just, there you go, as you can see. Chase down the enemies. Corridor maps like Sanatorium are very good for this, because we want things to come at us in a corridor, so they get shotgunned by all the twisters, and the wolves will stay in one area. Like, everything's just funneling is the way forward. So we teleport like that, get the tanks. As you can see, the twisters pop out, and everything just gets mowed down by twisters. It's so good. And again, the damage just gets better and better as you level up, because we've done all the safety stuff. So again, the wolves are tanking for us, they're having a happy time, no one's dying. We try and get as close as possible to get the hurricane in as well. And as you can see, if blizzards come down, the blizzards, I say, if it's only 1 or 2 blizzards, it just chills them, keeps them in check. But if it's lots and lots and lots of blizzard stacks, it will do some damage. Not a huge amount. But again, I'm just waffling here to pass the time just to show you. Right, so he's physical, cold immune. That wasn't doing much, but again, we got him. Teleport in. See, that's my problem with strafing. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. I landed, I started shooting, and then he shoots off in all directions, when really that was a bit dangerous, because they had conviction, they could have jumped on me, So what I'd like to do is just be able to just shoot in one direction and have control over that. Which is... I've got to summon Bob. Okay, Bob, Trevor, and Dave. Every time I switch. Go. Wiggle our buffs up, switch back, pop a mana pop, move on. Bam, 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 bam. So, as you can see, there you go, there's a big stack of blizzards. It does, well, sort of, did a bit of damage. They ran through it, did a bit of damage. Mostly for the chilling effect, as I said. But if you want more control, I would suggest switching Widowmaker, because, like I said, the problem with this, let's say you jump into the middle of a room, over that wall, you're surrounded by enemies. I'll shoot, and it'll be going off in all kinds of directions. And I'm not focusing my damage, well, proccing ability damage, into one area to blast that scary thing away. It'll divide its time, which is okay in certain situations, but not in dangerous ones. So, if you prefer more control, slap Widowmaker on. Oh, sorry. Change my hotkey there. So, we teleport in, and then we can funnel like this. Now, my issue with this is it's only the middle two arrows that proc the twisters. So, with that in mind, you're not being very fast with the shooting. Oh, they killed my mercenary. How dare you? So with that in mind, you need to be more precise in how we're damage dealing. Like, this is pretty dangerous. They've killed a couple of wolves, so we have to sort of get around a bit. There we go. See if we can pull them back a bit. See what happens. There we go. We don't want it a bit more safe, a bit more streamlined. See, I'm cursed now. That's dangerous. We don't want any of that. See, there you go. That's the situation. All the wolves are over there. They snuck around the side, started hitting me. So immediate potion, immediate back off. We're too squishy to be messing with that kind of scenario. These guys... It'd be a lot easier to kill him if I had my mercenary. But yeah, no, like I said, with this, switching back, so you concentrate more on a single target, as you can see, and it's great in that scenario. It's not great for, like I said, against a big room, because you'll spin about all over the place. But when it comes to, if you can control the funneling like this, and then just hit that. Not going down that easy. Need that AR. I lost so much AR when my Merc dies. Crazy. 93% down from 100. But it's still good, but yeah. So you get the gist, right? So yeah, I think we'll wrap it up. Really, you know, I don't really want to die in this map while trying to over-egg the pudding. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section, guys. Like I say, if you like it, give it a thumbs up. And if you don't like it, let me know why. I'm, you know, sad when I get a thumbs down and nobody comments on why it's a thumbs down. No? It's just a fun memes build. Again, it doesn't clear maps fast. Tier 1s, 15 minutes. Again, Tier 2s, 20 to 25. Tier 3s, you know, pretty damn slow. I mean, I like picking up things as I go along. I say this all the time, so I don't mind slow map clears. I really don't. I have fun while I'm going, and this is just a fun memes build, so yeah, give it a try. Enjoy.